I'm Shelby, and I never thought a single phone call could unravel my entire life. It was a quiet Saturday morning in my small Ohio apartment, the kind where the world feels soft and slow. I was sipping coffee, the bitter taste still lingering, when my phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. The number wasn't saved, no name, no caller ID. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something nudged me to pick up. "Hello, is this Shelby?" a polite voice asked. "This is Daniel from First Ohio Bank. I'm calling about your mortgage balance of $600,000. My stomach dropped. "I'm sorry, what?" I said, my voice sharper than I meant. "I don't have a mortgage. You've got the wrong person." There was a pause, then Daniel spoke again, calm but firm. "Ma'am, the account is under your name, social security number, and date of birth. The loan was opened a few years back for a property in Westerville." Westerville. My heart thudded. That was where my younger sister, Jada, had been dreaming of buying her perfect house. A few years ago, she'd spent every family dinner scrolling through Zillow, gushing about big porches and open kitchens. "It's my fresh start," she'd said, her eyes bright. "A place for a real family someday." Back then, I thought it was just talk. Jada didn't have the credit for a loan like that. But me? I'd always been careful, paid my bills on time, kept my credit spotless. I was the dependable one, the one who fixed things. I thanked Daniel and hung up, my hands trembling. The apartment was silent except for the faint hum of my fridge. I told myself it was a mistake, a glitch. Maybe someone with my name got mixed up in their system. But deep down, a cold truth was settling in. Only a few people had my personal details, my full name, my social security number, my signature. I'd shared those things over the years, helping my family with tax forms, medical bills, even co-signing a car loan for Jada when she crashed her old one. I never thought twice about it. They were family. I paced to my bedroom, my bare feet cold on the hardwood. In the drawer by my bed, I dug through old receipts and birthday cards until I found it, a letter from First Ohio Bank, unopened, tucked away like junk mail. I'd ignored it months ago, thinking it was just another credit card offer. Now, my fingers fumbled as I tore it open. It wasn't junk. It was a mortgage statement with my name on it, listing payments I'd never made for a house I'd never seen. My chest tightened. I sank onto the bed, the letter crumpled in my hand. Jada's voice echoed in my head, her excitement about that house, her jokes about credit scores. My mom's words, too. "We'll figure it out, Jada." Family always does. I'd always been the one to figure it out. When my parents' medical bills piled up, I handled the paperwork. When Jada's boutique business tanked, I co-signed her loan. I was the steady one, the one who didn't complain, who didn't dream too big, because someone had to keep things together. But this wasn't a favor. This was theft. I stared at the letter, my eyes burning. I wanted to call Jada, to scream, to demand answers. But I didn't. Something held me back. Maybe fear, maybe hope that I was wrong. Growing up in our small Ohio town, I'd learned to be the quiet one. My parents praised my strength, but it came at a cost. Jada got second chances. I got expectations. When I asked for a used laptop for college, my mom sighed. "We're not made of money, Shelby." But when Jada crashed her car, my dad just shrugged. "That's what insurance is for." I wasn't angry yet, not fully. But something was shifting inside me, like a crack in a dam. I didn't own a house. I didn't have a car loan. I kept my life simple, tidy, safe. And yet, here I was, drowning in $600,000 of debt that wasn't mine. Someone I trusted had done this, and I had a sinking feeling I knew who. The next few days were a blur, like I was moving through fog. I couldn't focus on work, my spreadsheets blurring into nonsense. That mortgage statement sat on my kitchen table, taunting me. I kept staring at it, hoping it would vanish, but it didn't. My small Ohio apartment, usually my safe space, felt like a cage. I needed answers, so I started digging. I pulled out every file I had, old tax returns, insurance forms, even a stack of birthday cards from my parents. In a forgotten folder, I found another letter from First Ohio Bank, dated a year earlier. It was a payment reminder, addressed to me, for a mortgage I didn't know existed. My hands shook as I read it. How had I missed this? I'd always been so careful, but I tossed these letters aside, assuming they were spam. Now, they were evidence. Then I found something worse. A copy of the mortgage contract, buried in an email from a title company I'd never heard of. I'd skimmed it once, thinking it was a mistake, but now I opened the PDF. There was my name, my birthday, my social security number, and at the bottom, my signature or something close to it. I squinted at the screen. The way the S in Shelby looped was wrong, too smooth, like someone had practiced it. I'd signed enough checks to know my own handwriting, always a little hesitant, like I was double-checking myself. This was confident, polished, fake. My stomach churned. I thought of Jada, her voice bright as she described her dream house, a big porch, a cozy den, space for a family. A few years back, she'd been jobless, her credit a mess from her failed boutique. She'd laughed it off, saying, "Credit scores are just numbers, right?" I'd smiled, thinking she was joking. Now, I wasn't so sure. I remembered helping her with forms, student loans, car loans, even her apartment lease. I'd handed over my details without a second thought. Family helped family, didn't they? At work, I was a mess. I'd stare at my computer, my coffee going cold, my mind replaying every moment I'd trusted Jada. My coworker Megan noticed. One afternoon, during a lunch break at the deli across from our office, she caught me staring at my sandwich like it held the secrets of the universe. "Shelby, you okay?" she asked, her voice soft but firm. "You look like you're carrying the world." I don't know why I told her. Maybe because Megan was the only person who ever asked how I was, and meant it. She listened as I spilled it all, the bank call, the fake signature, my suspicion about Jada. Her eyes widened, but she didn't interrupt. When I finished, she didn't say, "It'll be okay." Instead, she pulled out her phone. "You need to talk to someone who knows this stuff," she said, scribbling down a number.
Tom.
"He's a financial advisor, dealt with fraud cases. He'll know what to do." I called Tom that evening. We met at a small coffee shop in downtown Columbus, the kind with mismatched chairs and the smell of roasted beans. Tom was older, maybe late 50s, with a no-nonsense vibe and a handshake like he meant business. I handed him my stack of papers, credit reports, the mortgage contract, old forms I'd signed for my parents' medical bills. He flipped through them, his face unreadable. When he finished, he leaned back and looked at me. "You know what this is, don't you?" "I think so," I whispered.
Fraud.
"Identity theft," he said, his voice steady. "Someone used your name, and they knew exactly what they were doing." Hearing it out loud made it real. I nodded, my throat tight. "I don't want to destroy them," I said. "I just want my life back." "You're not destroying anyone," Mr. Tom replied. "You're reclaiming what's yours." He laid out the steps. Pull my credit reports, file police report, dispute the loan with the bank, gather more evidence. "It's not quick," he warned, "and it'll change things with your family. You ready for that?" I thought about my parents' house in Westerville, the way Jada always got a pass for her mistakes. When she dropped out of college, my mom said, "She's finding her path." When I forgot to pay a bill once, my dad snapped, "You should know better, Shelby." I'd spent my life being their anchor, but now I was sinking. "I'm ready," I told Mr. Tom. That night, I stayed up late, sorting through more papers. I found forms I'd co-signed when my dad lost his job, others when Jada needed a car. My signature was everywhere, given freely, because I was the strong one. My mom used to say it like a badge of honor. "Shelby always figures it out." But now I saw it for what it was. They'd counted on me to carry their weight, and I'd let them. Not anymore. A few days later, I drove to my parents' house in Westerville, the folder of evidence tucked in my purse. The Ohio suburbs stretched out around me, neat lawns, basketball hoops, kids biking in circles. Their house was the same as always. White shutters, a cracked driveway, the faint smell of my mom's rose bushes. I hadn't called ahead. I didn't want them to prepare a story. I just wanted the truth. My mom opened the door, her face lighting up. "Shelby, honey, I was just pulling a casserole out of the oven. She acted like everything was normal, like I wasn't carrying a bomb in my bag. Inside, the house smelled of cheddar and onions, just like every Sunday dinner. Jada was sprawled on the couch, scrolling her phone, an empty wine glass beside her. My dad sat in his recliner, eyes on a football game, grunting at the screen. No one looked at me too long, like they sensed something but didn't want to face it. Dinner was quiet at first. We ate chicken casserole and green beans, the clink of forks louder than our small talk. My mom chatted about her book club. Jada whined about her neighbor's loud dog. I waited, my heart pounding but my face calm. After the plates were cleared, I set my napkin down and spoke. "Hey, quick question," I said, my voice steady. "Does anyone know about a mortgage in my name? For a house in Westerville?" The room froze. Jada's fork stopped midair. My mom's smile stiffened. My dad coughed, his eyes flicking to the TV. Silence stretched, heavy as a storm cloud. Finally, my mom spoke, her voice soft like she was soothing a child. "Oh, Shelby, it's just paperwork." Jada needed a little help to qualify. "You're not actually paying anything. It's family." Jada didn't look up. "You've got good credit," she muttered. "I don't. It's not fair if you won't help." Not fair. The words hit like a slap. I looked at them, my mom, who'd taught me to tie my shoes, my dad, who'd called me his steady girl when I balanced their checkbook at 16, Jada, who I'd stayed up with after her first breakup, promising her the world would be okay. They sat there, calm, like forging my name on a $600,000 loan was just a favor I should have expected. I'd grown up in this house, in this town, always the one who didn't break. When Jada maxed out her credit cards, my parents said, "She's young, she'll learn." When I worked 2 jobs to pay for college, they said, "You're so responsible, Shelby." I'd thought it was love, but now I saw it for what it was. They didn't think I could be hurt. They thought I was too strong to crack. "You didn't ask," I said quietly, my eyes on Jada. "You took my name, my credit, my life, and you didn't even ask." Jada shrugged, still staring at her phone. "It's not a big deal. You're fine." My dad reached for the remote, like he could mute me. My mom patted my hand. "We're family, Shelby. We do what we have to." I nodded once, slow and deliberate. "Thanks for explaining." Jada relaxed, thinking it was over. My mom smiled, like she'd fixed everything. But inside, something snapped, not loud, not dramatic, but final. I saw them clearly now. They didn't just betray me. They expected me to be okay with it. I'd spent my life carrying their mistakes, but this wasn't a spilled glass of milk or a missed payment. This was my future stolen. I drove home in silence, the Ohio fields blurring past. I thought about the birthday card my mom gave me years ago. "To our steady one, you're our rock." I'd kept it, thinking it was love. Now I saw it as a contract I never signed. They'd leaned on me because I let them, because I thought that's what family did. But family doesn't steal. Family doesn't lie. By the time I pulled into my apartment lot, I knew what I had to do. I wasn't going to scream or cry. I wasn't going to beg them to see me. I was going to take back what was mine, quietly, the way I'd always done everything. But this time it was for me. The next morning, I called Mr. Tom. We met again at the same Columbus coffee shop, the air thick with the smell of espresso. I handed him my folder, credit reports, the forged mortgage contract, old forms with my real signature. Tom's eyes scanned each page, his jaw tight. When he finished, he leaned forward. "This is textbook identity theft," he said. "You've got enough here to make a case. But it's your family. You sure you want to go through with this?" I thought about my parents' house, the way Jada's eyes avoided mine at dinner, the way my mom's voice softened like she could talk me out of being hurt. "If I don't," I said, "they'll do it again." Tom nodded. "First, file a police report. Then write to the bank to dispute the loan. Keep every document, every email. This won't be fast, but it's winnable." I spent the next day at the Westerville police station. The officer, a tired-looking man named Officer Hayes, took my folder and read through it slowly. His face grew serious with each page. "You're sure about this?" he asked, not doubting me but warning me. Family cases get messy. I know, I said, but I can't let them keep my life. He stamped the report, making it official. I felt a strange mix of relief and dread, like I'd just jumped off a cliff but didn't know where I'd land. That afternoon, I went to the post office and mailed a certified letter to First Ohio Bank. Tom had helped me draft it. Inside was the police report, a formal dispute, and copies of my ID. The postal worker slid the envelope into a tray, oblivious to the weight it carried. To me, it was a line in the sand. I didn't call my family. No texts, no warnings. I just went silent. For days, I waited, checking my email like it was my job. Work was a haze. I'd smile at clients, crunch numbers, but my mind was elsewhere. Megan checked on me daily, bringing coffee or a bad joke to pull me out of my head. "You're doing the right thing," she'd say, and I clung to her words like a lifeline. A week later, the fallout came. My mom showed up at my apartment unannounced, her face tight with anger and something else. Fear. I opened the door, but didn't invite her in. "How could you go to the police?" she hissed, stepping closer. "You're tearing this family apart." I stayed calm, my voice low. "You used my name, Mom. You stole from me." She blinked, like I'd slapped her. Jada needed help. Family sticks together. "Family asks," I said. "They don't take." "You're being selfish," she snapped. "Do you know how this looks?" I almost laughed, but it caught in my throat. "I didn't ruin anything. You did." I closed the door, the latch clicking softly. It felt louder than any argument. That night, Jada called nonstop 10, maybe 15 times. Her voicemails started angry, then desperate, but I deleted them without listening. I didn't need to hear her excuses. I'd heard enough at dinner. The next morning, an email from First Ohio Bank arrived. "The mortgage loan has been suspended pending investigation." They apologized, saying they were reviewing the notary records and signatures. My credit was still a mess, but for the first time, I felt a spark of hope. I called Tom. "They're taking it seriously," I said. "They usually do when you've got proof," he replied. "You didn't yell. You just showed the truth. That's enough." He was right. I hadn't screamed or begged. I just laid out the facts. Let them speak. And they did. My family's silence grew. No texts, no calls, no invites to Sunday dinner. They didn't try to fix it. They just missed the old Shelby, the one who'd say yes no matter what. But that Shelby was gone, and I wasn't sorry. Months passed, and spring crept into Ohio, painting the trees with soft pinks and greens. My life started to feel like mine again. I'd always been the one fixing things, my parents' bills, Jada's messes. But now, I was building something for me. I joined a pottery class at the Columbus Community Center, my hands shaping clay into mugs and bowls. They weren't perfect, but they were mine. On weekends, I volunteered at the local library, shelving books and helping kids find stories. It was quiet work, but it filled me in a way my family never had. My credit was still healing, but the bank's investigation was moving forward. Tom kept me updated. More signatures were flagged as suspicious, and the notary was under review. I checked my credit report weekly, like checking the weather, waiting for the storm to clear. I didn't trust easily anymore, but I was learning to trust myself. One sunny morning, I set up a booth at a local craft fair in Westerville. My table was covered with pottery, cups, bowls, little vases, each one a piece of me. A woman picked up a mug I'd named Reclaim. It was uneven, with a smooth rim but a bumpy base. "Why this name?" she asked, turning it in her hands. I smiled, a little shy, because it wasn't supposed to be anything, but it became something anyway. She nodded, paid, and walked away. I felt light, like I'd given away a piece of my story, and it hadn't hurt. That evening, as I packed up, I saw them, my mom, my dad, Jada, standing at the edge of the parking lot. They weren't close, just watching, like they didn't know whether to approach. My mom clutched her purse. Jada's mascara was smudged. My dad's shirt was wrinkled, like he'd given up on ironing. I walked toward them, my bag slung over my shoulder. No rush, no fear. My mom spoke first, her voice shaky. "Shelby, we messed up. But we're still family." Jada stepped closer. I just need a little help. Don't shut us out. I looked at them, really looked. My mom, who'd called me her rock. My dad, who'd leaned on me during his layoffs. Jada, who I'd protected from every fall. They weren't here for me. They were here because they needed me again. I set my bag down and pulled out a manila envelope. Inside was a copy of the voided mortgage, stamped in red, and that old birthday card. To our steady one, our fixer. I handed it to my mom. I'm not angry anymore, I said, my voice soft but clear. But I'm not your fixer either. Family doesn't steal. It doesn't use. I hope you figure out what it really means someday. My mom's hands shook as she took the envelope. Jada opened her mouth, but I didn't wait. I turned and walked back to my booth, my footsteps steady on the pavement. The sun was dipping low, casting long shadows across the lot. I paused at the top of the hill and whispered, not to them but to myself. Sometimes walking away is the loudest thing you can say. I didn't look back. The air felt clean, like after rain. For the first time, I wasn't carrying anyone else's weight. I'd taken my name, my life, my future back, not with shouts or tears, but with quiet steps. And that silence was louder than anything they could have said. To everyone who's followed this journey, thank you. You've walked with me through betrayal, heartbreak, and the fight to stand tall. If this story hit you, if you've ever been the one holding everyone else together, hit that subscribe button and join us. Every story here is about reclaiming what's yours, your name, your truth, your peace. Keep building your own path, and I'll see you at the next table.